if you remember, last session was all about internal communications. And mostly we dealt with what are the different forms of internal communications. And today it would be more of narrowing down on the internal communication and taking up one very important topic, that is writing meeting agendas and MOMs, minutes of the
Right.
meeting. So it is mostly like meetings we all are familiar with, aren't we?
Yes, yes.
Any kind of a meeting, could be a formal meeting, could be an informal meeting, but it's a part and parcel of our daily professional life. And but it is very important, like meetings these days, it has become a very casual term, I tell you.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
any
We meet over a, over a cup of coffee,
coffee.
coffee and biscuit. That's it.
And it is very informal, like I just need to have a 2 minutes meeting with you, that is what we mostly say. And the essence what the word meeting used to have, when maybe some 20-25 years back, it has gradually become very casual and very informal. But even then, and what happens is, because it has become, it is my personal feeling that because it has become very informal, what happens is when we finally go for a meeting, or when we finally meet the people we want to discuss our topics with, we actually forget half of the
Yeah,
things.
objective itself, we
Yeah,
forget the objective,
the
the purpose of
objective
the
is
meeting.
lost. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, correct.
the objective is lost, and it is kind of diluted. We don't know, we discuss a few things from one topic, maybe there I have gone in mind that I need to discuss all these five topics. And then when I finally go there, in different kinds of discussion, and what happens is I finally forget three topics and discuss two topics and come back, and then when I come back I remember, okay, I forgot to discuss these three topics.
The
So that
more
is,
majority of the time, the most important one is missed.
yeah. So I mean, I at least face these. I don't know about you all. Do you also face these kind of issues?
Yes, yes, of course, yes.
Yeah. So that is where writing agenda is very, very important. And writing agenda is mostly about, it is kind of a list. It is a list of activities and discussions that will be taken up in a meeting. So, and it's just not writing, just not making a note. True, sir. I mean, do you
Yeah,
agree with me?
yeah,
So it
100%.
is not, it is not about mainly taking making a note that, okay, I need to discuss this and this. But usually what happens in our professional field, we often have meetings which comprises of kind of maybe 10 people, 12 people, or it's a large crowd. So there, what happens, few people are totally, I mean, few people don't get a chance to speak. And it is mostly three or four people where the topic, I mean, who speak on all the topics. So basically, an agenda is written or made to have a knowledge that, okay, who is going to take up which topic,
Yes.
who is going to talk about it, what are the, points to be discussed, maybe what are the, what would be the solutions? If it is a discussion, then who are all going to participate? So we have all these minute details mentioned in the agenda. So would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I just want to ask a
Hmm.
question to everyone. Our
Yeah.
meetings are become a part of our life, especially in the professional life, right? Can anyone tell me what is meeting basically? Nowadays meeting has become, meeting each other over a cup of coffee, also a meeting, or a professional, this one actually where we gather together, discuss about the last movie which we have seen, and one person will talk more on that and forgot the entire objective. Can anyone remember, the last meeting which you have attended and still, you know, still you feel happy about your contribution or the outcome of the meeting? What made that meeting satisfying or unsatisfying? Just think about a while. I'm sure that meeting had a clear agenda. You know,
Yeah.
Before the meeting itself, we had clear idea that why we are gathered there. What was
True.
the purpose? Every individual of the every participant of the meeting, you know, was given a clear cut, what do you call, roles, right? Everybody has a purpose to attend,
The
had a
meeting.
purpose to attend the meeting, and the objective. Even the after the it went on as per the agenda, and after the meeting also everything was noted down, and everything, even the timelines were fixed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Action items are noted down. That is why that entire meeting was pretty, professional, right?
True.
Made us very professional. So
True.
again, as I told you earlier, effective meetings are generally structured through writing these three things, especially before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. Generally, the before the meeting, what we write is nothing but an agenda.
Agenda.
What we do during a meeting, that is nothing but an agenda. A good agenda also, has, as you rightly covered almost here, list of
Mm-hmm.
activities that participant expected to accomplish during the meeting. That's nothing but a purpose of the meeting. Objective of the meeting is clearly written. Who chairs, who chairs the meeting, who takes the notes, who gives the action items, or even the every point, the major point is covered there. It is very very clear.
Mm-hmm.
See, always remember, good agenda items are specific, result oriented, and with a clear timeline, and
Yes.
realistic also. I think these four, using before writing a agenda, we need to keep these four words in our mind before writing any kind of a meeting agenda. Am I right, Kasturi?
Yes, yes. And one more thing I would like to add here, sir, is what sometimes people, even I have faced questions like this, wherein people have asked me that maybe a meeting is scheduled only to discuss one particular topic. So do we
Hmm.
need to write an agenda there before the meeting? Uh, Theoretically, it is not required,
Yeah,
because
theory.
when we are going there with the mind that okay, this is one topic which we need to discuss, an agenda is not required. But again, writing an agenda is also not going to hamper it in any way, because
I
there.
I I would say that any good habits, any
Mhm.
bigger habits are should be generated in a simple way like this. It is
Yeah,
nothing but a professionally, professionalism,
professionalism,
right?
yes.
Where when you start, whether it is a small or a big event, or a meeting of two or three, or
Mhm.
30 members, we should have a clear cut agenda. That is what I say, because
Exactly.
orally it is whatever we speak is not recorded or not
Mhm.
respected, right? So
Yeah.
initially we need to have a proper agendas, and it has to be distributed among the participants well in
Team.
advance, so that even one person also, he will know that what is the purpose of his being attending the interview, sorry, meeting.
The meeting, yes.
Yeah, what is the outcome expected? So
Mhm.
everything will be clearly, and this being specific is very, very important. Majority of the time,
Exactly.
we will not be specific. For example,
Yeah.
if I have a business call, or if we have, imagine we are a college, this one, we would like to have a good result. So let's discuss about how to get a good result. This is a specific, this one. It is not at all specific. That
Mhm.
meeting itself, purpose of the meeting itself, it is lost, because
Exactly.
what do you mean by good result? What is your definition of being good, having a good one? We need to have clear number there, is it?
Yeah.
Maybe last year result was around 67 percentage. Today we would like, this year we would like to increase it to 75.
75.
That
Right.
is specific,
And that is the agenda. Like
clear
now,
agenda,
clear agenda. And
yeah.
now we should discuss about the methods or the steps to, that should be discussed to bring it from 65% to 75%. That
Yes,
is the clear cut agenda of the meeting.
true,
And
true.
also, what happens while discussion, we often, we don't keep a track of the time.
Hmm, hmm.
So the timeline also can be maintained when there is a
Absolutely.
clear agenda.
Probably the long-term goal is that,
Yeah.
of year-wise long-term goal is that, and it
Mm-hmm.
has to be cut down into midterm goals,
Yeah.
or even by we can achieve that, particularly in the same context. I mean to say, if it is a
Mm.
college result, actually in the midterm results, we should be able to do this much, and
Yeah.
who does what, be very this one, but it is not, having a, of course, thinking big is good. So 67 percentage to straight away 100 percentage is not realistic, right?
Real. Yes.
So we
So
need to
it's a
think about realistic terms also.
Okay, so now coming to the now, like we already have discussed, what are the importance of agenda? The agenda also, like we don't stop at one meeting. Meetings are, like we said, that it's a very frequent process. So what happens is for the future meetings also, agendas are very important, so that we have a reference of what are the topics that have already been discussed, and we don't take it up in the next meeting. But if we don't have agendas, we lose out on it. I mean, we don't have a track, right? Okay. So, mostly dealing with this now, coming to the formal and informal agendas. So, like here, we have already mentioned it for you that an agenda is prepared for a meeting if it is an only informal list of main topics, also. So, just a list. But yeah, if it is a formal meeting and we are preparing an agenda for a formal meeting, all the minute details have to be included. Right, sir?
Yes, of course, of course. Anyway,
Yeah.
let me talk about that actually about the meeting part.
Mhm.
It's not only about having a good agenda makes our meeting successful, or we get an expected outcome from the
Mhm.
meeting. It's about what do we do during the meeting as well as the post meeting also. Okay, this is one of the very important part. Majority of the
Yeah.
time there are so many things are discussed during the meeting, and by the end of the day, nothing, no outcome at all,
Yeah.
because
We forget.
we forget. Of course, if there is no follow-ups, if there is no this one, having a clear agenda is not only the thing. It's about following that agenda during the meeting.
During the meeting, right?
Let me repeat again. Having a proper agenda itself, it is not sufficient. One has to follow it the same way. One should not, say, allow somebody to hijack the entire thing. That is very important, right? So for that, of course, use agenda. That's the very important part. Second thing is, taking notes during the agenda. Who is the note keeper? Please identify in the meeting itself who chairs the meeting and who is the note taker, keeps writing the important part of the this one, as well as the minutes of the meeting as well. I'll come to that.
Hmm.
Using agenda, sorry, follow agenda, as I mentioned earlier already. Follow the agenda, topic, time, participation, everything very very clearly, precisely. It will definitely help you get an expected outcome. Once you finish entire thing as much as possible, okay, I would request you to share this agenda at least a week before with everyone. If it is very short notice, also try to share with all the participants at least 24 hours before. Even have a plan B. There are a couple of members who are expected to create a presentations on that. So please do inform them and get a consent from them before you have a clear agenda. Correct? Am I right, Kasturi?
Yes,
It's very
yes,
important
absolutely.
to it's very important to mention them clearly before you. All of a sudden, probably, if you expect him to do a presentation, uh, obviously, it would be a very short notice for him. So I would suggest you to have a clear and agenda distributed among the participants well in advance. It
True.
always makes a very good it definitely helps you get a better outcome of the meeting. Anyway,
Meeting.
what we do after the meeting? Imagine you finish your this one. What do we do after the meeting? Generally, we forget things. We discussed a lot. We felt good, and you know, we had a cup of coffee, and bye bye. That's it. So, but having a minutes of the meeting is definitely required, because otherwise, it has no. Your objective is not only to conduct a meeting. Your objective of the meeting is to achieve something. You have a
And
you clearly have a purpose for the meeting, right? So
True.
that purpose is only met when you're, when you achieve that. In order to achieve that, these minutes of the meetings are very important. Yes, Kasturi?
It helps in the actually it helps in the implementation of the I mean the solutions. Maybe we have a problem and we have discussed that in the meeting and we have come to a joint solution. So if we
True,
don't have it as a record after the meeting, the implementation can never be successful.
true, true.
So that is one thing. And one more point I would like to add here, sir, is that having a plan B, like you rightly said, you never know of emergencies.
Yep, yep.
And maybe a couple of people were supposed to present something, like sir said, and they don't turn up at the end moment for some
True.
emergency. You
Yeah,
never know. So
yeah.
that time we should never be. I mean, we should never be and we should never be awkward in front of the people, in
Mhm.
front of the other members. And we do not know. We should not be clueless about what we want to present, what we want to discuss. So it's always good to have a plan B. It's not
True.
only in the case of meetings, but everywhere, be it professional and even sometimes in personal life. We should never be
That
placed in an awkward position.
that's a point. Debate, Kasturi. This last
Yeah,
sentence.
yeah.
Of course, having a good this one is always better, especially in the meetings, because the entire
Meetings.
meeting should not be hampered because of one person absence, right?
Exactly.
Because it is always important to have. But trust me, after the meetings, actually, good meeting minutes, you know, writing a good one. Good meeting minutes. What do we write? People ask me, whatever the
Yeah.
note they need to write, no, need not, who said what, all those things. It's like court. Generally, it happens, right? In the court, actually, they write everything as a report.
Hmm.
Whatever the conversation happened between the lawyers and judge and the victim. So obviously, everything is recorded there. So you need not have all those things, okay? But still, we should not miss out anything important. So the one who writes the meeting, the role is very, very important. Uh, it has to be complete. We should
True.
not miss out any important part. Detailed about the decisions, the discussions, as well as the conclusions are very, very important. It has to be concise. It should not be like writing an essay, right? And the very, very important part is, in order to achieve the purpose of the meeting, the action items have to be noted down clearly. What, who does it, when, all those things, including the follow-up meeting, what happens next, everything should be mentioned clearly. That makes our meeting, minutes of the meeting complete. Yeah,
Yeah.
trust.
It actually should include, the name of the attendees, the issues that were discussed during the meeting, or the issues that were raised, they discussed their related responses, everything. We should
True.
have it as a draft as a reference for the next future meetings. And throughout, after the once the MOMs are taken, like the minutes are taken, it is easy to implement also. Like I said, the related responses, the final decisions that were taken, it is easy to implement. And we
True.
can have a track. Okay, this was discussed and this is how much we have achieved till now. So you know what from where to take up in the future meetings. It is very, very important. And if we
Very
store it if we store it in our mind, like here the slide says, memories are unreliable and
good.
memories
True.
can fade. So
True.
that we will never have a track of what was discussed and what have been implemented till date.
Yeah, yeah. Then the blame game will start one fine day
Yes.
when we are looking at this. Blame game will start. No, no, I have not taken that responsibility. I think somebody else must have, I think you must be preparing, right? It was assigned to you.
Yeah.
Like that it
These are
starts.
very common and simple blame games that always occur. So
True,
it is very important to have things documented in our
true,
professional
true,
life.
true,
And these
true.
all are part of the documentation. I mean, there are various ways of documentation, and this is one such part.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the importance of sharing agenda well in advance. Same way, we for the writing minutes of the meeting, also it is very, very important to write the minutes of the meeting quickly. Don't put up the job off for a weeks, because it makes a huge difference if the meeting is still fresh in the mind. Majority of the times, what happens, minutes of the meeting will reach us only after a week or two. We would have gotten busy with other things. Correct.
Yes.
So it is very, very important to have a clear cut, right, minutes of the meeting should be reached to all the participants at least by, in a matter of within 24 hours.
24 hours, right.
Then automatically everybody takes that entire meeting seriously, and, you know, of course, you can get a better results.
Yeah, the
Anyway,
sooner the better.
yes, I have a simple sample here. You can just take a look. I think of course, you get a lot of samples actually available in the Google. I also picked one from the Google itself, but it kind of impressed me, which has almost every part of is covered.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Chandrasekhar.
Yes.
Hi, Chandrasekhar. I'm Satish
Satish.
here.
Yes. Hello,
Yeah.
Satish. Yeah.
Hi, hi. So, yeah, let me share my experience with you. So,
Please.
I was part of one of the meeting in a esteemed university. So
Mhm.
it's a quite big university where chancellor was there, and of course, librarian sir. I mean, he was also present, and all the HODs were also present, and the whole agenda or the purpose of the meeting was basically how to increase the engagement of e-journals and
Right.
e-library resources. Okay,
Right. Mhm.
so why I was there? So that is another question, because I was there to help the university to increase the engagement of language. Okay,
Mhm.
so anyway, so my observations was number one, samosa was really good. I think I should always mention.
Good
Anyway,
one.
I'm
Good
just,
one. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, two important observations. One, see, the agenda was like, university has purchased e-resources, various e-journals, digital books, and library resources. And it was about utilization. It was about value addition. It
Right.
was about ROI, return on investment, right? And what I found was that, uh, lack of orchestration,
Mhm.
uh, because what chancellor and vice chancellor were looking at was, a higher level uh, statistics or numbers. I mean, they were more keen on, the outcomes, not the output, or not about the operations aspects. So what had happened was, like, I mean, people started, I mean, the faculty, they started talking about, so there is no admission in mechanical department this year, and there is no need to purchase mechanical related e-journals. And civil engineering sir was very, very vocal. He was like, no, we have to purchase journals related to civil engineering, etc., etc. So what I found was, it was more of a operational discussions which were happening. And of course, librarian sir was, he used to put up his views, and why VC was more interested in overall numbers and ROI. So if we really think this particular incidents through the lens of the framework which you mentioned, so how we can take it up? I think there's one more question. What should we do after the meeting? How do we implement process, result, outcome of the meeting? I mean, Sumit Mandal sir has asked this question. So I would like to repeat the question. If we really uh, see this particular incidents or this particular meeting in the framework which you mentioned, before, during, and after, how
Mhm.
we can plan this?
Of course, I personally felt, as you mentioned rightly, sir, the intention, the purpose of the meeting was not really conveyed properly in that particular context. The purpose, I mean to say, okay. So first thing is, though the agenda was there, you remember only the what do you say, samosas right now. So the purpose of the meeting, if you have written those things clearly, and the entire had it been a good implemented properly in the meeting as per the agenda, as well as the follow up things, actually who does what when, all those things, with a crystal clear and specific terms. I'm sure the entire meeting would have been more productive. I would definitely say that, try following that method which I have shown you for the next meetings, especially when it comes to, before, during, and after meeting. All these three things, if it is covered, I'm sure you will end up in expecting, you'll end up in achieving the expected outcomes, not only
Yes.
the outputs for sure. Kasturi, would you like to add?
No, that is pretty much even what I wanted to say. That following this entire procedure, right from the agenda till the MOM, I think that helps in having a really good understanding of what the meeting was actually aimed at.
True, true, 100%. We have next part is the grammar portion we have right now,
Yeah,
and I think over to you, teacher. I mean grammar, right? It's time for some English grammar as a
yeah,
part of our schedule. Actually, we keep learning a bit of grammar, the most essential part of grammar every situations, right? In
yeah.
every Sunday. So this Sunday, what do you have for learning?
What we have is the basic, very basic, and I don't think that it requires a lot of teaching or explanation. But
Mhm.
what we have right now, I think all of them would be very conversant with the word nouns and pronouns. Any
Any
name.
name, yeah,
In
correct.
a naming word is what we actually call a noun. Noun is a fancy grammar word, but any naming word is a noun.
True.
So,
Mhm.
but then what happens is we do not know, like, we don't go into the deeper details, like how many types of nouns are there. We are not at that point, or we are not at that age to go and study all these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, but there are certain rules. If, like, when we were talking about the functional English, wherein
Mhm.
what should be used with the grammar, when we think of grammar, when we try to implement it in our regular conversation, these things actually matter. Like if we talk about, say, some, I cannot tell you, like the last day we were discussing, I cannot say the Chandrasekhar. Now
Yeah.
Chandrasekhar is a name,
Mm.
and it is a noun, and people is also a noun, so, or a person is also a noun. So person can also, you can be identified as a person, you can be identified by your own name. But wherein person indicates everybody, and everybody is a person, and jointly they are called people. Chandrasekhar only is your name right now. It
Yeah.
could be
Yeah.
name of many other people as well, but we don't know them. So right now it is your name. So for your name now, this is a proper noun, and when I say person or people, it becomes a common noun.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
that is it. So this, it is quite linked to the last day session what we had, like articles.
Mhm.
And so I cannot use the before your name because it is a proper noun, but I can use the people, or I
Okay.
can use the person, or I can
Mhm.
use a person. So these
Right.
things, if we know them grammatically, it becomes very easy for us to use them in our functional English in our everyday life.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
What is this collective noun? I'm getting. Is
Yeah,
it a new term? I mean, for the entire collection of entire group, we call something. For example,
yeah.
I could
It
make
is.
out that committee.
Yeah,
Committee
or
means.
maybe a crowd when I use the word crowd, or
Okay.
maybe when I use like I don't know. This is very interesting. Like when we see when a collection of fish in the lake or in a pond or
School of
something.
fish. Yeah,
Yes,
school
we
of
use
fish.
school of fish. Now,
Yeah.
how many of you knew that school is something beyond the literary meaning of a school, but we
That's a
use a
nice
school
one.
of fish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these things, when we talk about a collection, rather than saying there are a lot of fish and there are, we say swarm of bees when you see a beehive,
Mhm.
and we say there are a lot of bees, and rather I say there is a swarm of bees. So I'm talking about the
Oh.
collection in a whole. It actually, these words make the
Difference.
language sound better. Yeah,
Really, really. Instead of saying a group of girls, actually,
yeah.
if we have a right term, a group of
Mhm.
soldier, instead of saying
Right.
group of soldier, if I call a right term,
Yeah.
correct?
If
If I
I,
have
when
one word.
rather than saying a group of soldiers, if I use the word army.
Yes, yes.
It kind of conveys the same meaning, and that way my sentences become short
Mm-hmm.
and they are more crisp, they are good to hear. So everywhere, so that is where actually grammar need not be always learned, it should not be mucked up, it should not become boring. Rather, we can also put grammar in a very functional way in our everyday conversation.
True, true,
But
true.
then what happens is, this is all about nouns, like now if I say water, but I have seen people making mistakes with waters. But
Mhm.
that day will, I mean, people will stop making that mistake once they come to know that okay, water is something that we cannot count, and it is an uncountable noun. We cannot
True.
count water, and so when
We
cannot
measure.
be, yeah, we measure, and but it cannot be counted like one, two, three, four. We cannot count it in numbers. So of course, when we already know this, I will never make the mistake of calling it waters anytime, anywhere.
Okay.
All right.
That brings me to one more debate topic. I'm making a note of it. We'll
Okay.
discuss because there is one saying, right?
Hmm.
See waters run deep.
Yeah, still waters run deep. Now, when it comes to
Yeah,
yeah, these are exceptions,
yeah,
and
exceptions.
and what happens is these are proverbs, and proverbs can never be grammatically challenged.
True, true, true.
Okay, so
Very true.
proverbs actually allow any form of grammatical, even what we, I mean, grammar Nazi people, what we call it as a mistake. Sometimes proverbs excuse those mistakes.
Yeah. And one more thing, in that case, actually, so people itself, it is plural. There is no peoples, right?
Yeah, same thing with children's.
Yeah, majority of us,
Child,
we commit a lot of mistakes. If there are more than
yeah.
one child, then automatically we say the children's. I know.
Yeah, and children
Peoples.
is in itself a plural term because
Yeah.
child is a countable noun. So
Mhm.
these things we need not go deep into it and learn all the grammatical concepts. But once we get a hang of it and once we understand it from a matured point of view, we will never make these mistakes again.
Yeah, these minor mistakes makes a lot of difference in the,
Difference.
in the communication
And
level, right?
if I can recall, yes, if I can recall Dr. Netra's what she was discussing and her point, like I don't know what to use, which word to use. So
Mhm.
I mean, these things actually help you. I mean, she feels embarrassed to talk. So these are very minor things, and if we consider them while speaking, those mistakes will never come. We don't make any major mistake, I tell you. These are
Yep.
the
Yep.
minor mistakes that we commit more often.
I would rather say, instead of learning things, we would polish our or fine tune our
Yeah,
languages
yeah, yeah.
like this, right? We have to fine tune our language or learn, polish our language. That's it. Yep. Great.
Yeah, and from here we move on to the next one, like from nouns. See, pronouns are everything that nouns can do.
Okay.
Pronouns and nouns are no way different when it comes to their usage. But
Mhm.
yes, what happens is when in we use nouns. Like if I say, Chandrasekhar is conducting the session. Chandrasekhar is a nice man. He is speaking real. Chandrasekhar is speaking really well. What happens every time I use your name?
Chandrasekhar, Chandrasekhar. Yeah,
It
yeah.
becomes very repetitive,
Hmm.
and it doesn't sound good. Also, forget about grammar, but it doesn't sound good. Does it sound good to any one of you?
No,
I
quite
don't
often,
think so. Yeah.
No, no. Yep.
So what happens is instead, the first time I introduce you that Chandrasekhar is our speaker today, and he is a wonderful man. He speaks really well. So when I substitute your name with the word he, and it sounds
Mhm.
more precise, it sounds more soothing rather than using a name every time I talk about you.
Okay. So
So
pronounce.
these words are basically pronouns.
Okay.
They are
Pronouns are
used,
nothing but a word which replaces the noun.
replaces
Correct.
a noun or substitutes a noun. Yeah, very simple.
Good. Good. I mean, sometimes, in our mother tongue, actually, we get a
Mm,
little confused here. For example,
mm,
he,
yeah,
we have Mr. Satish also here. He is
yeah.
very senior and I respect him. In my
Mm,
mother tongue, I use the respective terms. In Kannada, we say
mhm.
neevu, I mean, avaru, like that, I mean, in equivalent term is they.
Okay,
Can I
yeah.
say they for him? Because
No.
it looks, if, for example, Dr. Kannur is here.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
say he, it looks little odd to me, I mean, as a native
Mm.
speaker, because he is so, elderly person, respected. So I would want to give respect to a person. So when
Dr.
I'm talking,
Rajat, we cannot be repetitive in whatever we use. Like I cannot take names every time. I also cannot take I cannot use pronouns also every time in each and every sentence, right? So what happens
Yeah.
is if we shuffle between this, like initially I introduce the person, and then maybe I shift for a couple of in the introduction I shift to Mr. Rao again. Coming back to what Mr. Chandrasekhar just said, that a way of giving respect, because
Yeah.
in position and all. So when we use the surname along with the title like Mr. or Mrs. or Doctor, like this, we are kind of honoring him. We are kind of giving respect to that person when we are talking about him,
yeah,
right?
Okay.
I would like
Yeah.
to add one thing, Rajata, right?
Mhm.
Rajata,
Yeah.
it is all about our conveniences, okay? It's all
Yeah.
about the formal,
Yes.
this one. See, in our setup,
Okay.
actually, where we work, okay, we always, we don't treat it as irrespectful or if we call by the first name, but
Mhm.
not
Yes.
everywhere, right? Because nowadays, though Satish is my boss or Lax is my boss, actually, I don't call him as sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lakshmanarayan sir doesn't look, because we all work in one organization with the common purpose. So obviously, I call by first name itself. If somebody calls me sir, it sounds like an uncle to me, like Chandrasekhar uncle, Chandru uncle, kind
Okay.
of this one. So I
Okay.
don't take it right way. Same way there also. Okay. So adding, I
Okay.
mean, I don't say that, it is, if you ask me, is it wrong calling somebody sir? I say no, it is not wrong, but where do
Yeah.
you use it is all makes a difference. It's all
Yes.
about with the other person, actually. If it is like
Oh,
Mr., just to make it a change, okay, as you rightly
Mhm.
said, Mr. Chandrasekhar Adiga
okay.
or Mr. Adiga, and probably you may use one time, he,
Yeah.
correct?
Okay.
Like that while
Yeah.
talking, okay. But here the catch is, I'll just add one more thing. Using a
Hmm.
Mr. here, Mr. for somebody. Remember this Mr., Miss, or Mrs. Should be used before the full
Yeah.
name or the
Yes.
last name.
Yes. Right.
That
Okay.
means my full name
Okay.
is Chandrasekhar Adiga. Okay. Then you can call me
Okay.
as Mr. Chandrasekhar Adiga or Mr. Adiga. These two are
Okay.
accepted in English. Okay. But if
Mhm.
you are using
Okay.
Mr. Chandrasekhar, that is wrong.
Yeah. That is totally incorrect.
You got it right. Let me repeat. It is
Ah, yes.
Mr.
Hmm.
Chandrasekhar Adiga or Mr. Adiga. Both also right.
Okay.
But when you
Okay.
mention Mr. Chandrasekhar only, then it is wrong. Never use that. Okay.
Oh,
One
okay. Okay.
takeaway from
Thank you,
this.
sir.
Welcome. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Thank you. And
Welcome.
one more small doubt. Again, in MOC, I think we should not use. For example, I request the principal, sir. We should not say that, sir. No,
A
in
principal itself
MOC.
is. No, I mean, again, the same
Yeah,
thing. There
enough.
are no rules, okay? There are no
Yeah.
rules or something.
No,
It's the way
no
we
rules.
use it. But
Okay.
you, when you have already used principal, is it? Itself, it's
Yeah.
a respected term. So that is more than sufficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
got it
Thank you.
right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
It
great.
all depends on the terms we use, and we cannot use anything as in a noun or a pronoun repeatedly. That would make it sound very, very dull and monotonous. So we have to keep shuffling between the nouns as well as the pronouns. So these are mainly the type, the kinds of pronouns, and these are. I mean, you can because you have access to Languil, we have a very detailed content on pronouns. You can go there, you can read it for yourself, and also find out. And any doubts, please do feel free to get back to us on anything. And
Great. I have, let me touch upon the
hmm,
topics. Let me be a voice of the student, okay?
yeah, yeah.
Students now, where I don't want to get into all these things in
Hmm,
detail or something, but there are
yeah.
some places, where I personally feel I find it difficult to use it. For
Hmm,
example, I see that, the most common mistake is while introducing ourselves, starting from myself,
hmm, hmm.
myself, Chandrasekhar.
No,
I
that
hope
is
you agree
totally.
with me.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very
Uh,
common practice, but it is an incorrect practice. That is all I would
Absolutely.
like to say.
Absolutely. So in this context, actually, can you please explain me how to use myself, which is the right way
Myself,
to
yeah,
when to use?
myself is mostly it falls under this reflexive pronouns
Hmm.
actually,
Hmm.
and kind of myself is when we want to emphasize myself, himself, ourselves, whatever, all these self
Hmm.
and selves. These
Hmm.
are mostly to emphasize on the subject. Subject means like I have done. When I want to, give a lot of importance that I have done this work and
Hmm.
nobody has helped me. Just an
Hmm.
example that I have done this work all by myself and I have done this work myself. So that kinds of gives an impression that I have done it, but when I add this word myself to it, it emphasizes the fact that nobody else has helped me, but I have only done it. So it's more of an emphatic pronoun or reflexive pronoun, whatever we call it.
Right, right. Great. That means I learned English myself is right.
Yes, yes. So after
I
this session, they all can say that we have learned English ourselves.
Ourself. Okay, great. That
Yes.
means if it is plural, we, it is
And
followed by. Okay, in the same context goes to same rule goes to whenever I am talking about others also. Like he learned
mhm,
English himself.
himself, yes.
She
She learned
she
him.
yeah.
She
She
learnt it
hurts.
herself.
She hurt herself.
Hmm.
Correct.
We
Am I right?
embarrassed ourselves.
Oh,
Anything.
great, great. Okay. So myself is wrong in that. I understood now why I am, if I say myself Chandrasekhar, it is wrong. Either it
It is
has to
totally
be
incorrect.
I am Chandrasekhar or my name is
My name is
Chandrasekhar.
Chandrasekhar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not myself Chandrasekhar. So majority of us actually commit these mistakes. I think
Hmm.
I've been a voice of the participants.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to add here?
Not much. And there is one more thing, like which we call the demonstrative pronouns, like this, that, these, those. These
Hmm.
four words, they are very frequently used. But again, we do not, sometimes we just happen to, miss out where to use which one. And so there is a very easy tactics to know this. This is just a very simple tip. Like when I'm talking of something which is closer to me, and I can demonstrate it, I can show it to the person whom I'm talking to. So that is where if it is a single object, we use this. And if it is if there are multiple objects, we call it these to showcase them or to demonstrate them. Wherein, if I'm talking about something which is quite far from me, and I need to point it out at a distance and show it to people or talk about it, in that case, for a single object, we use that, and for multiple objects, we use those. It's a very simple rule, and that makes the usage very easy.
Hmm. Correct. No, but can you please? I have one more doubt now. Is it
Yeah,
okay
yeah.
if I ask you now?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Especially in terms of there and theirs, I always have an issue with using, how to use
Hmm.
there and theirs.
There and theirs is mostly when
Is it a plural term of there?
no, no. Theirs
Okay,
is a possessive one. Like if I
okay,
say this house is theirs.
okay,
Okay, so
okay.
in that case, it talks about possession, that this house belongs to them. As
Hmm.
in, when I'm using the word belongs, of course, there is a verb which we are going to talk about later. And it's theirs.
Okay,
So I'm talking about a possession. It belongs to you, it is yours. You are the owner of it.
that
And
house
when,
is theirs.
yeah.
That is their house. Is it
That
right?
is their house, and that there it that I mean in that particular sentence there becomes a possessive adjective because the noun house is coming next to it, and that is where we are going to take up adjective now.
I mean,
Pretty confusing.
yeah, no, no, it's okay. It's not confusing to know the terminologies actually. Instead,
Mhm.
I just want to know whether my I can say the same thing. I can convey the same meaning, right? By these two
Mhm.
sentences, okay? Like one, that is their house. That
Mhm.
house is theirs.
Yes,
These
and
two give the same meaning, right?
same meaning, but it
Okay.
again depends on the user if I want to use an adjective or a pronoun. Okay,
Okay.
so if I want to use an adjective, like let us come back, let us go to a very simple sentence wherein we talk about mine and mine. People really confuse these two words, where to use mine and where to use mine.
Let me try.
Yeah,
This is my pen. This
yeah.
pen is
Is
mine.
mine. Yes.
Is it right?
Yeah, and it conveys
Very
the
good.
same meaning. Both the
Same meaning.
sentences convey the same meaning. But when I say that this pen is mine, I'm focusing on the pronoun mine. And when I'm saying this is my pen, I'm focusing on the adjective mine.
Okay. Adjective mine is the moment you are, describing
Yeah,
yourself.
describing word.
The
Yes.
word adjective is coming quite often. What is
Yeah.
adjectives? Can we
And
please little bit touch upon the adjective as well?
yeah, adjective is nothing but they are describing words. Like if we take the same example, this is my pen. So pen is a noun because it is a name of a thing.
Mhm.
And whose pen it is mine. So of course now it describes it gives us more information. Describes means what? Giving more information about something. Giving I mean we get to know more about a particular object or a person or a thing
Mhm.
or a place, anything. It can be anything. So if I say like Bangalore is a beautiful place,
Mhm. True.
so I'm
Yeah.
talking, so Bangalore is a place which I'm already denoting in the sentence. I've mentioned Bangalore at the very beginning. Whether Bangalore is a person, a place, a thing, that is mentioned at the end of the sentence by saying that Bangalore is a beautiful city. It's a city. I have mentioned it. And what kind of a city is Bangalore? It is beautiful. So that particular word beautiful is giving me more information about Bangalore. And thus
Oh,
it is a describing word, and grammatically we call it adjective. That's it.
that's good. That's good. Of course, it gives more information about noun or
But
about a subject,
yeah,
what we are
about the
talking about.
subject, yes.
You're right.
And now here one important tip to remember here, or I would like to say, we can use adjective before nouns. That means names of different things or place or person. But
Mhm.
although pronouns function the same way as nouns do, but still we cannot use adjective before pronouns.
A little confusing.
Yeah, I cannot
He.
say like if I say suppose we this if we take the example of this cat.
Mhm.
Okay, now I cannot say suppose I name this cat as Tom. I cannot say Tom is a friendly it. I replace cat with it, and I cannot say Tom is a friendly it, because when I say it you don't know who is Tom.
Okay. Tom is a friendly cat.
Yes. So I
That's fine.
have to use the noun. So adjectives or describing words can be used before when there is a noun in the sentence. It
Mhm.
can be either used before the noun, exactly before the noun, or it can be used even at the end of the sentence when the noun is mentioned at the beginning. Like if I say Tom is a friendly cat.
Mhm.
Okay, so in that
Mhm.
case, I have already made it clear that Tom is a cat who is friendly.
Mhm.
Or if I say Tom is friendly, maybe somewhere at the beginning I have already mentioned that Tom is the name of the cat, and I say that Tom is friendly. Or I can rather say it is friendly. I can use a pronoun instead of Tom, and I can say it is friendly. But I cannot say Tom is a friendly it.
Interesting. Yep. Got it. Got it. I think is there here also there are multiple types of adjectives. Do we
Uh,
have?
Types are there, but for adjectives, what is important is the gradation.
Okay, got it.
So we have degrees of adjective, and degrees of because adjectives are mainly used to compare, or because I told you they are describing words, they give us more information. They are mainly used to compare. So
Mhm.
what happens is we have mainly three degrees of comparison, and these are the positive degree, the comparative degree, and the superlative degree. So just to brief about it, like if I say maybe that I just take a name and John is a smart, John is smart. I just give a simple sentence, or maybe we can take the examples what we have on the slide, that Earth is large. So here, how is Earth? It is large. So large is basically the describing word, and it is an adjective.
Mhm.
And here I am talking about only Earth.
I'm describing one thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
got
I'm
it.
describing one thing. But if you look at the next picture, here I
Compare.
have two objects which are being compared. One is the Earth and the other is the Mars.
Right. Right.
So now here I have to say that Earth is larger than Mars. So when I say Earth is larger than Mars, I'm comparing Earth to Mars. And here see now the word large has changed to larger. And this is the comparative degree. And to remember, comparative degree is used only when two things, two objects, two places are compared. That is,
Mhm.
the number has to be two.
Okay.
If we compare more than two things, and that could be any number, it can be 3, it can be 30, it can be 3 lakhs, doesn't matter. But
Mhm.
anything more than 2, when we compare anything which is whose number is more than 2, in that case we use the superlative degree.
Okay. We add EST to it, is it?
Yeah,
Majority of
no,
the time.
most of the time, yeah.
Mhm.
Most of the time we add est to it, or yeah, when it is the superlative form. When it is the comparative form, we use er. And one more thing to remember is that before the superlative form of the adjective, we always have to use the definite
Yeah.
article the. If I write the same sentence that Saturn is largest among all the planets, the same sentence goes wrong
Right.
because you have missed out on this article the. But once
Okay.
I write, yeah.
Continue. Continue. Yeah, please. You are about to say something. Yeah.
No, and one more thing here I would just like to mention is it's not all. It is not the rule that everywhere when it is the comparative form we use er, and when it is the superlative form we use est.
Hmm.
Here, what matters is it depends on the adjective that has been used. If the adjectives are like here, if you see that this word large is a monosyllabic word. Mono means one. We have just one syllable over here.
Hmm.
So that is the reason we have used er and est.
Hmm.
Instead of large, if I use the word beautiful, I
Beautifuler is
can
wrong, right?
I cannot write beautifuller and beautifulest.
Oh,
In that
okay.
case, for a simple rule, maybe you don't
Mhm.
have to go by syllables if it sounds
Mhm.
complicated. If you see the adjective is quite big and the word is quite long, in that case, what happens is we use more for the comparative form and most for the superlative form. Like I would say, Earth is more beautiful than Mars, and Saturn is the most beautiful among the three planets, if I
Mhm.
have to say this.
Okay, Kasturi, is it
Yeah.
possible to learn these rules through your platform like
Of
language?
course,
Because
yes. Of,
this is one of the problems actually where majority of us face, like where to
Mhm.
use ER and where to use more.
Exactly. We have it because all of them have access to Langquill. I can share my screen and show it to you.
One more thing is,
Mhm.
sometimes we commit a lot of mistakes here also, especially if there
Mhm.
is any specific, must not haves or must not do's, must do's and must not do's follows. As you rightly
Mhm.
said, superlative degree, we have to use, uh, what say, correct?
Yes.
Say if any of the EST thing, it is the
Mhm.
best,
Yeah,
the tallest, like that,
true.
correct? Same
Mhm.
way, good, better, best. There also,
Yeah,
anything like it is better than. We
they
have
are irregular adjectives.
yeah,
They are.
whenever we compare, we have to use than also, correct? When
Mhm.
we are comparing. But there are exceptions to it, right? Like superior
Superior to.
to. We don't use than there.
Mhm.
This shirt is superior to yours,
Yes.
right? Not than there. Say
Mhm.
any exceptions you can think of right now where we can remember, we can generally we don't commit much of mistakes here, but any exceptions right now, please let us know. Okay.
Yeah, and like it's for good, better, best, or bad, worse, worst. In that case, in those cases, we do not use more and most. We do not use er and est, but the word itself changes in
Uh,
all the three
I
forms.
sorry, I come across this. I hear a lot of times, people saying much more important. Is it
Mhm.
right?
It is
How can they
not
use much and more together when they are
together.
not comparing? Yeah.
It is grammatically not right.
Uh-huh.
It is either we say it is more important or it is the most important.
Yeah. Or it is important.
or it is important.
Yeah.
But much more important, that is colloquially, even though it is very randomly used, grammatically, it cannot be approved.
True, true, true. This is the benefit of
Hmm.
Indianizing English.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all Indianize. Let's Indianize English anyway. Anything else you can think in the same way? So you said that you are going to share the screen. Sorry.
Yeah,
Please do
yeah,
share the screen and let us know where exactly. I'm not sure if we can cover the next topics,
yeah.
but we should take the this one, right? I mean, we should take the
Mhm.
questions also.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, you
yeah.
can always. I'll stop the sharing screen. You
Screen
can share the
sharing.
screen now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is my screen visible?
No, not it. Yes. Yes, yes. Now it is.
Okay. So we can, I'll just log out. And this is the Langpill platform
Mhm.
wherein you can log in with your credentials that have been provided. And just like Satish sir has already shared in the last session how to go about this, you can go to My Learning Center here,
Mhm.
and then we have the My Library section. This My Library section would provide you with all the content for the topics that we have covered in these two sessions, and even what we are going to cover in the next sessions. So whatever we have covered here, as you can see, because we are quite confused with adjectives, in the very first level, that is the foundation level, we have adjectives.
Okay. Mhm.
And when
Click
you
on that.
click on this,
Mhm.
we have the entire content on adjectives. So hopefully all the confusions can be cleared over here itself.
That's nice. Okay.
Okay, so we have the different types of adjectives and quantitative adjectives. These are all the types. And then we come to the degrees, what we discussed right now. Good student, better student, best student, these things.
Mhm.
Okay, and once you finish, once you complete and you are thorough with it, you can also go and take assessment on the same topic to check your understanding level.
That's nice. That's nice. Yep. Good.
Any questions? I think we can take questions if.
Yeah, yeah. Of course,
uh,
I'm happy to take questions. Anyone?
mm,
Open for the questions now. People, please feel free to ask questions. I think Dr. Ranjita still has. Dr. Ranjita?
I think Satish sir also has a question.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
No, no, that is my
A
uh,
previous one, right, sir? Sorry,
yeah,
we are all.
previous
No,
question.
sir.
I go. Yeah.
Even Dr. Rajita ma'am, I don't think she has any new questions because
No, no, sir. No, sir. It is previous one.
Mhm. Let me know if you have any questions. On behalf of you, I tried, asking, tried putting myself into your shoes and asking the same doubts. Try to be a voice of yours, but still, it's always better you ask questions by yourself so that we
Yourself.
can answer this.
Yeah.
Sir, will you continue that minutes of meeting in next week, or is it
Next week,
ended today?
next week it's going to be a different topic
Different
altogether.
topic.
Say what we can do is we can just touch upon the things. Minutes of the meeting itself, can be conducted for
Hmm.
at least for 5 sessions. It's deep if I go deep. So here we
Okay.
are. I mean, I'm not here to teach minutes of the meeting, just to give the glimpse and get your what to say. Create an interest about that particular topic by showing the importance of that particular topic, so that all of you will study and take it forward. Okay. If you request, we can always compromise on one of the topics which we have already planned and focus more on the minutes of the meeting too. But I think it's a quite self-learning, topics, right?
Yes. Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Okay.
Anyone else has anything? If not, we have already,
Hmm.
almost half an hour this one, right?
Yeah,
Somebody is joining now.
I guess so.
Okay.
Good morning,
Uh,
sir.
yeah, very good morning. May I know who am I speaking to? I mean, I'm not able to get.
I'm Roja.
Okay.
Uh, so one suggestion or request from my end,
Mm-hmm.
if minutes of meeting or MOM, whatever we are going to do, if
Mm-hmm.
with the example, if if you do, it will be very helpful to us.
Sure, of
I feel
course.
it's
Why not?
very theoretical. I feel
Mhm,
myself, I'm personally feeling it's very theoretical. If
mhm.
practically the
Min-
session, if you conduct, it will be very useful to us
Okay,
because we
sure.
sure.
are rural and people, we are not knowing much of English. If we see just in a practical session, maybe we can't get all 100% what you're doing. Please, sir, it's a request. Next time, if possible, please share with us the practically what the letter format. Suppose the skeleton of the letter, if we get, it will be very easy to us to
Okay.
implement it.
Okay, okay. That's
Okay.
that's that's a nice question. I was a little confused about the question actually, but you made it clear by yourself. You wanted a
Mm.
format. That's what you mean practical, is it?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Format could be shared
Even
easily. We will.
one of
Yeah, Roja, I'm not able to hear you. Sorry. Go on. Kavita? Sorry,
the
Kasturi, can you hear us?
No, I cannot hear Roja. I can
Yeah.
hear the red.
that it's called it got disconnected.
No problem.
Yeah,
I
what
we
I was
got it.
trying to
Yeah.
please sir continue.
Yeah, nothing. In fact, you wanted a format and more information about the skeleton, all those things, the minutes of
Yeah,
the meeting. Definitely, it could be shared. We will share it across to you. Okay.
true.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Right. Next.
Madam, I have a one query.
Yeah, yeah, please.
While we receive the phone, for example,
Yeah.
uh, to the other side, what should I have to tell? Hello, Kasturi, say, or hello, Kasturi, tell, or hello, Kasturi, speak.
No, no, none.
And that's a good one. Very,
Yeah,
very good one. I appreciate
yeah.
this question. Yeah, I really like
Uh,
it.
Usually, what happens is we when we receive a phone call, we greet by saying hello, and then the other person automatically speaks. But if you at all have to ask that person to speak, what we can say, please go ahead.
Yes. Or you can even just say that, hello, Kasturi.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is what I said, that usually when we greet the
Mm,
first time you just receive the call and you say hello, the other person automatically starts speaking. That's how it functions. But again, if he is waiting for an approval from your end to start speaking, maybe
go
you
ahead.
can say please go ahead. That
That's
sounds more
Okay, sir.
cordial and polite.
Dr. Rajata, I would like to add one
Yes.
here what we should not do. Okay.
Hmm.
While
Okay,
the
Okay.
telephonic conversation is another subject altogether, it's a
Yeah, yeah.
huge topic too. But one thing I'll tell you, the most common mistakes we do is whenever we speak to some, whenever we receive a call, the unknown number, we end up in asking, who is this? Correct? That's what we do. Who
Yeah.
is
Who
this?
is
Yes.
this?
I mean, or who do you want? This is what we ask generally. Very graciously we ask,
Hmm.
generously we ask, who do you want? Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to talk to Shah Rukh Khan. I mean, you won't be able to give his number, right? So obviously those two are also wrong. Okay, we should not be like saying very rude by saying who's this or something. May I know who is this? That is a better way to ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
we should
Same
be
for
all, yeah,
yeah,
we should be like one thumb rule is over the phone call or over a telephonic call, it is always good to be cordial and polite
yeah,
when you do not know who the other person is. So you can say, may I know who is on the other side, or may I know who is on the line? Anything
yeah.
that sounds polite.
And while calling, it's your duty to introduce yourself first,
Yes.
anytime.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
instead of saying when I called you, obviously I should say hello, hello. This is Chandrasekhar. Am I speaking to Mr. Am I speaking to Dr. Rajata? Is the right way.
Mhm.
I should not be
Okay.
calling you and saying that who's speaking. I only called you and I am asking who is speaking. It is
Yeah,
wrong.
that is true.
Yeah.
You understood, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. And if a student will is standing in front of me
Mhm.
and they are just asking, "Yes, ma'am," then to continue, I just say yes, or again the same three. Say tell.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is what I have to say about to speak. make
Yes,
them to speak.
yeah, yeah. That is
When
what
they
the
are coming
answer.
to my chamber,
Ah,
uh, say something. I have to tell.
no, no, that's what I mentioned. You can just say yes, or you can
Okay.
just say go ahead.
Yes. Okay. That
Go
is
ahead.
enough.
Yeah, generally tell, speak, all those things. Generally we don't use as a instruction. That's not the
Okay.
nice way to tell anybody, okay, or
Yeah.
instruct anybody.
Uh,
Go ahead can be a good one, most formal one. Yes, go ahead, like this. The tone.
uh,
Or no, the verbal communication. One expression can on your face can definitely make them understand whether it is the right moment to speak, what they have to do, everything. One give a small expression on the face that makes your life easier. Right, Kasturi?
yes.
Yes, true. When you have one thing is when you have the person right in front of you,
Mhm.
that makes communication very simple and easy, rather than talking to someone whom you're not able to see in person.
Okay.
I think we have Poonam
Okay.
waiting.
Now we
Poonam?
have Poonam, we have Hemanti.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Anyone of them. Yeah.
sir, in the beginning, you told that we should learn 10 to 20 sentences every day. So,
Mhm.
can you provide us some 10 to 20 or 50 sentences for learning during this week, every week?
Poonam, do you really want this? It is kind of spoon feeding, right? If I give you a ready-made sentence, then it doesn't serve the purpose, Poonam. Majorly, you need to understand from your point of view what situations you come across. Where do you have to use English? What are the situations you face every day where it would be great if you are able to converse in English? Think in that way, and Google is the guru. Trust me.
Okay,
Okay?
okay. Thank you,
You
sir.
will be able to learn whatever you learned by yourself, you master it better than I am giving the sentence to you. To be honest with you, I don't really know what kind of a situation you use. I'm talking about the functional situations where you use it. Your situations which you come across every day as a librarian. You're getting my point.
So, how
So
will
it's
I
always,
know? So, how
yeah,
will
please.
I know for particular situation what sentence I should use? Am I right or am I wrong while
That
using a
is
particular sentence?
this is the question I wanted from you. I think Satish will help you right now in how exactly you can ensure that you're speaking in a right way. Especially Language will help you if in validating that particular statements. Okay, whatever the is this one you write. Okay, once you upload there, then automatically you will ensure that it is flawless. That is one. But the effort has to start from you. You just whatever you are speaking right now, just try to, okay, these are the situation. Imagine you have a situation of introducing a chief guest. Okay, next in the next function, you write something in about them in English, correct?
So,
Whether it is, you are not sure if it is right or not, then Language will help you. I think Satish can demonstrate and show you how exactly it could be done, right, Satish? Is it a possibility now?
Uh, Chandrasekhar, yes. The thing is, on YouTube, if you
Oh,
really
you have,
see, Dr.
yeah.
Noor sir has already uploaded our last session, previous session. So Poonam
Mhm.
madam can refer to that. So Poonam ji, you can write on the platform or upload and figure out what are the mistakes, and even you can practice speaking as well. So that is also there. So
Yeah.
that facility is also there.
yes, sir, I tried for speaking yesterday, but it was not listening. Well, it was listening and then stopped listening. It happened that way. So I could not continue that module of listening and speaking.
Okay.
Do
So yeah, so if it is speaking, then probably you have to allow the app permission in Chrome. So yeah, I mean what we can do is probably after this session we can have a look into it, ma'am. Okay, or you can even send me a mail as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
great. We have Hemanti waiting and Syed Hussain also waiting, I believe. Yeah. Any genuine questions?
Hello, sir. This is
Yep.
Hemanti Mahali.
Mhm.
So my question is in comparison of the degree of adjectives. So
Mhm.
my question is about when to use more and most in adjectives. Means how to recognize the adjectives to use more and most, or er or est.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
a question on behalf of you, I asked with Kasturi then. Correct,
Okay.
Kasturi?
Yes.
On behalf of all the participants, this is the question I raised it there also. Okay, just
Okay. Okay.
briefly,
Yeah.
and I think she can
So
learn those modules easily through
A
language
language
platforms.
platform.
Yeah,
Yes.
brief a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, brief is what happens when the adjective you are using is a small one. You mainly have to look into the syllables. Now, how to break
yes.
syllables and how to understand syllables, that is again, it's a quite, it would take around 2 sessions to understand. But then you just have one sound. To keep it simple, if a word has just one sound, then it is a
One
monosyllabic
monosyllable.
word. Yeah.
Monosyllable word. Yeah.
And if it
Oh,
has more
okay.
than one sound, it could be bisyllabic, it could be polysyllabic, anything. So when it is a
Okay.
monosyllabic word, what we do in the comparative form, we use ER, and in the superlative form, we use EST. But if a word has more than one syllable, that means it has more than one sound, then we do not use ER and EST, but we use more in the comparative form with the base form of the word. Like beautiful, I said.
Oh, okay.
I
Ma'am,
will not change the base form. I will say more beautiful
yes, yes.
and most beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, okay. And suppose, for example, a funny, you said, we use more, most, or er, ist,
We
Yeah.
use fun. Yes, we use funnier and we use
funniest, no?
funniest. Yes.
This funniest, yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes.
It all depends
Okay,
on the
okay.
words. So for that, you need to have a clear understanding of the adjectives that you use in the sentences.
In fact,
Okay,
syllabification.
okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, again, I'm asking about that that Language portal that
Mhm.
we appeared for after go through the syllabus or the learning process. Then we can take the assessment also.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course. Anytime.
Even you can take the
Okay, okay,
certification as well, ma'am.
Not
okay,
only one
certification.
level, there are multiple levels
Multiple
also.
levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are
But
7
it
levels.
was
Ah,
yeah, level the certification is according to which that is the stages the different I am tried for the conjunction. Okay, the last session, just take the assessment and it give me the 80%. Then I
no,
Mhm.
gone
no,
for
that is
the
that,
get,
no, that is more for a practice. And
okay,
if you go to get certified, even you can get
yeah,
the certification as well.
Yes.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, sir, okay, sir.
Only thing is, you
Thank you,
should
sir.
have a good internet facility for at least 1 hour, and you have to dedicate 1 hour and take the exam. So it will ask you to write, it will ask you to speak, it will ask you to read,
Listen.
and of course
Okay,
it's LSRW skills.
Listen.
Uh, Questions are from grammar and vocabulary.
okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome. Syed, your term now. Syed Hussain.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, clearly, crystal clear. Yeah.
Uh, uh, Sir, what we have to write after agendas and minutes of the meeting? Should we write action taken report or accomplishment report, or which is based on time bound, as you said earlier?
Yeah. I mean, there is no set format, okay? It's all about, the format which I had shared earlier. I mean, one of the format rules. Kasturi, will you be able to share the screen? That format which is there, Kasturi, you're there?
Yeah. 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 I'm there. One
Just
minute.
share that particular format with the
One
participant
minute.
also. Generally, you just need to understand the purpose. Okay. For example, once you understand the purpose, accordingly, you will be able to design the, minutes of the meeting also. Okay. It can be always customized based on the purpose. The purpose is to have a clear timeline, who said what, who will do what, when they will do, and the follow up also. Even it can be, apologies from somebody also. That means, the people who could not go attend, absentees. Everything could be there in this one. You can always modify, customize based on this. But sharing a MOM is very important than the format. Okay. Yeah, go for a full screen, Kasturi.
Yeah, I have
I
one
think,
minute.
yeah,
I have started the
Yeah,
slideshow. Yeah, yeah. Now,
yeah,
yeah,
now,
okay,
now
better.
is it okay? Yeah.
Yeah. See,
yeah.
this is just a format, okay? There is no set standard or something for the format. You can always design, but what the major part is, it has to be, you know, it should include multiple things actually. What you want to include, all those things should be there. Who said what, when, and who does what, when, and who is absent, who is present, all those things. This is a nice format you can develop and share it across to everybody. So it's more than a format, as I mentioned earlier. Having a minutes of the meeting clearly is very important. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sayed. Yeah. Uh, Anyone else, or we can call it a day? I think it's instead of 1 hour, it is taking too long. Almost 1 hour, 50 minutes.
15 minutes.
Right, Kasturi?
Yeah.
What exactly? What are we planning to discuss next week?
We will be looking into the newsletters. I think that is also one of the most important form of communication, and that is pretty much into use. So we
Mhm.
would be taking up newsletters.
Newsletters, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There, I think we can cover little more on the grammar aspect, I believe, because as
I
it is
believe.
only one topic, we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
cover more of writing part. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to ask one question. Please do respond to me with all the participants. Please do respond to me on the message. Would you like to have more of a written focus more on the written English part or spoken English part? Please do mention your responses on the this chat box itself. Okay.